Hi, Cat's Cradle here. Let's dehydrate some apples. I was given these beautiful apples, which I believe are red delicious. They're not my favorites. However, these are full of flavor and just fantastic. They look perfect from the outside, which is a little deceptive. I'll tell you about that in a second. But since I'm not sure how they were grown, and since apples are the most sprayed fruit in the country, sometimes sprayed up as many times as 26 in one season with pesticides, fungicides, insecticides, that kind of thing, I want to get the peel off. I don't know how they were grown, and so I have to consider it unsafe. I did find, and you'll see when I peel them for you on camera in just a minute, that underneath the skin are some little tiny bug bites, which is very promising to me. Actually, I like that better than not having bug bites, because that indicates to me that they probably were not sprayed. These apples are huge and they are delicious. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'll show you how to go about it. This is very simple. I'll show you in another video how to peel them with an apple peeler, but lots of you have expressed to me that you don't have that piece of equipment. So I just want to show you how to do it without it. Here's kind of my setup. I have a bowl of acid water up there on the left. I'll show you how to do that, or tell you how to do that. My bowl of apples. I have my dehydrator trays ready on the right hand side, and then my cutting board where you can see I've already got a lot of the apples done before I thought to make this video. Here's the equipment I use. I use a melon bollard. That's what's on the left. It's not necessary, but it's very helpful. I use this good Farberware peeler that's in the middle. It cost about $2.97. It's readily available. It's the best peeler I've ever owned. Then a very good paring knife on the right. I recommend you get one if you don't have it. I wait until Bed Bath & Beyond runs that 40% off coupon, and then I went and got this peeler. I think I paid about $25 for it. Well, not quite, because you minus the 40%. But anyway, I've had it for several years. It's very good. So here's how I start. I peel the top of the apple, and then I peel the bottom of the apple. The main reason I do that is because this peeler is very sharp, and I have cut my finger many times. So being able to have that area cleared away and have a safe place to hide my thumb and my middle finger while I peel the rest of the apple is a smart thing to do. It just also makes it very efficient. So now all I have to do is go around peeling strips off of the apple. And you'll see after I get the peel off, there are still many blemishes on the apple, but I will take those off as I go up and clean up on the second peeling. You'll see over there on the right that I've added a little compost bucket over there to put my peels in, because I found my cutting board stacking up pretty fast. So I'll go ahead and get the rest off. And then I kind of size it up. I look at it. I see a few little shallow bruises. And like I said, I wish I'd have brought this apple closer to the camera, because on the bottom of the apple there were lots of little teeny tiny superficial bug bites. Sometimes the peeler grabs the peel and I have to pull it out of there. So I'm just going off and I'm cleaning up the little bug bites, and I'm cleaning up the little shallow bruises. You can see those right there on the shoulders of the apple. Doesn't take very long at all, and this peeler just works so quickly and allows me great control. Yep, there's one more little bruise and a little piece of skin. That looks pretty good. All right, now in my bowl of water, there are several things you can use to make it acidulated, is what we call it. I used lemon juice today, and to that little pan of water, I put about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. You can use a tablespoon of fruit fresh, or you could even use vinegar for that matter. All you have to do is have some kind of acid in there, and it will keep the apple from browning. So I work with 1/2 at a time. I use the melon bollard, just rotate it around to scoop the core out. I don't see very well, so I use my finger to make sure I've got all the core out, because the core is a little rougher and I can feel it. Then I just go back and cut a V on the top and the bottom to get the remaining narrow part of the core out. And then I try to evenly slice the apple into my water. This isn't my first rodeo. I've done this a lot, so I'm pretty good at cutting my slices pretty evenly. Now I'm going to deal with that second half of the apple. Again, the melon bollard, just twist it around in there, scoops that right out. Feel to make sure I got all the core out. Missed a little place, so I'm going to go back here and get that out. And then cut the V's at the end. And sometimes you have to go a little deeper because apples aren't always perfect, and sometimes the core kind of turns on the inside of the apple there, so you have to just adjust for that. No big deal. Get any little places off that you missed, and then slice that into the water as well. Boom, one apple done. Get started on the second one. We'll get prepared to move the camera over there, and you can see me just doing the same thing I did to the first one. Come on, A, move that camera. There you go. All right, and you just keep going just like you did the first one. I turn it over because I like my thumb in the bottom of the apple. There you go. And just keep going around. All right, so when I get a bowl full of apples, I just make sure that they have all been submerged and that all the surfaces have come in contact with the acid water, because I want as little browning as I can. And then I just start loading up the trays. It helps to have a couple of clean dish towels handy because you do drip a little water here and there, and so I just wipe up any spills. It's kind of like putting together a puzzle to load the dehydrator tray, and this is one of the reasons I actually like the slices better than the rings that you get when you use the apple peeler. Of course, you can make slices too with those, but I just think you can get so much more on the tray here. See, because even the center holes of the apples I can fill up with other pieces of apple here. Just grab another handful, kind of drain it as best you can, put it on the tray, and if you hold the tray over the water, the drips will go right in. I'm just trying to hold this where you can see it really well. As soon as I get 4 trays loaded, I go ahead and begin dehydrating. I don't wait until I get them all filled because, oh, see this one here? It's a little thick. I sliced it a little thick, and I don't want it to cause the next tray that sits on top to ride up. So I just throw that back in the water because I created a new raw surface there that hadn't been treated with the acid. So here we go, just working the puzzle, trying to get as many in there as I can. What I was saying is, as soon as I get 4 trays ready, I begin dehydrating them. And then as I get more trays ready, I just go stack them on the dehydrator because I don't want these sitting out for very long. The longer they sit out, the more chance you have of them getting brown. Here, I'm just trying to figure out how to get one last piece in here. If I turn a few things. And normally I wouldn't bother, except I was afraid I wasn't going to have enough trays. So I wanted to absolutely maximize my space. And that's how it looks, kind of like a beautiful chrysanthemum. There you go. First tray ready. Now I'm going to show you how to take the core out. If you don't have a melon baller, you can just do it with a paring knife. Go get any little piece. Yeah, I'm trying to feel the core. Got it all out. I'm going to take the little V out. I'm going to show it to you one more time. The secret is to put the point of the knife, put your thumb very close down to the point of the knife, plunge it in. Be sure to go deep enough there. Twist around. Your thumb will keep your knife from going too deep into the apple. That's how you control it. There you go. See, it just goes almost as quickly as the melon baller. Just doesn't look quite as pretty. Slice it up just like you would and put it into the water. Here's another batch. Look how pretty those apples are. They weren't so pretty when I first started peeling them, but with that peeler, I can just get all the blemishes off, and they just look so nice. And look how white they are on the tray. That's what you want. Now here they are after they've dried overnight. I came back the next morning. Actually, they were pretty dry by the time I went to bed, so I turned the temperature way down. I like to dry them at 130, between 125 and 135 degrees. I actually turned these down to about 150 when I went to bed because they were almost dry. Preparate took some really good shots here. There they are. I've taken them off the dehydrator and they're in a bowl cooling. I don't put them in jars or bags until they're cool. There they are, beautiful dried apples. Now, you know they're done when you can bend them over and they don't snap, but they do slightly crack. Can you see the crack there on the edge? And that's all they did. They're just slightly flexible, but you do not test that until they're absolutely cool. Again, do not test them until they're completely cool, or you will not get an accurate reading on if they're dry enough. If you bend them and they do not snap, but they crack like this, you can be certain that they're dry enough inside. And you certainly do not want to begin putting them in your jars. Here's some that I vacuum sealed in a jar. You just stack them up, and that's a lot of apples in there. Here are some that I put in a bag, and I thought I might have over-dried them slightly, so all I did was fold the top of that bag over, not seal it, and then just leave it on my kitchen table for a couple of days, hoping that a little bit of the ambient moisture in the house would go in there and soften them just slightly, and it did, because if you have really hard edges on your apples and you try to vacuum seal them in a bag, it will puncture the bag. So these were just perfect. I vacuum sealed them. And then I'll try to give you a close-up shot of the labeling. It's a little hard to read. I just wrote dried apples on it and put the date. And now they're all ready to be stored away. These apples are fabulous. They have many uses. If you decided you wanted to make applesauce or apple butter out of them, all you have to do is rehydrate them and then cook them down like you normally would. If you want to make an apple pie, you just pour boiling water over them, let them sit 20 minutes, and you're good to go. Look how beautiful they are. The best part is knowing that you did it yourself and you didn't use any preservatives in order to make them shelf stable and to be a long-term food storage item. These apples will last a very long time. I have some dehydrated apples that I vacuum sealed in bags that are 4 years old that are still absolutely delicious. They retain all of their flavor. The color has not changed. They're just wonderful to have and last a long time. The other thing is, it's so easy in my household to go on a picnic. If Prepper A says she wants to take a picnic, it's so easy just to go grab things off the shelf. I don't have to stop and make sandwiches, and I don't have to stop and get a cooler. All I have to do, I go grab a bag of dehydrated apples. I grab some dehydrated or freeze-dried green beans, or a bag of jerky, and get us some water or something to drink, and off we go. It's so handy having your own home prepared food, especially dehydrated foods like this. I hope you give dehydrated apples a try. They're easy to do and they are delicious. Until next time, this is Cat's Cradle.